my first production was Dick's Sporting Goods national Christmas spot that they filmed at Crocker Park.
Okay.
So it was a 3-day shoot because it was a national spot. It was about 60 or 100 people, and by the second day, I was on the floor in a fetal position, bawling my eyes out, going, "What the hell just happened here?"
Right.
You are now listening to the Hey Now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey, hey, hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
The Hey Now Media Podcast.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Matt from Hey Now, and you're tuned into the Hey Now podcast. Today, we actually filmed our first podcast ever. We interviewed one of our very long-standing clients, Izzy, and he's the owner of 56 Kitchen, Elle Restaurant, Vertigo, Street Mobile Bistro, a ton of other things that we've worked on. He's been our client for over 10 years, and this is our 10th year anniversary, so we thought this would be a really great person to start with. And not only that, Izzy's a great guy. We've had a really great rapport for 10 years and always loved talking to him, so I figured this would be an easy sort of alley-oop for our first go-around. So, hope you enjoy it. Definitely check out some of his restaurants. You could definitely find them all online. And really hope you enjoy the conversation. This is the first of many, and we look forward to hearing your comments and feedback. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the podcast and anything Hey Now Media is doing. We have a new swag store coming out. We got a couple different podcasts we're launching. And hey, it's our 10th anniversary, so we're super excited to be celebrating with everyone. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Matt from Hey Now. You're listening to the Hey Now podcast. I'm here with Izzy, owner of some of my favorite restaurants here in Cleveland, 56 Kitchen, Vertigo, here currently at Elle Restaurant and Lounge. So for our listeners who haven't heard of you or any of your restaurants, I know a lot of them have, but if they haven't, I'd love for you to just introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks for having me. My name is Izzy Schachner. I'm the co-owner of, like you said, 56 Kitchen, Vertigo, Elle Restaurant, and 56 Catering. All of our restaurants are based on basically like clean eating, no freezers, no microwaves, and everything is like fully exposed. You could see right through from the bar all the way into the dish room, and so we believe we give off an authentic experience. Hopefully it's good, but it'll be authentic.
Sure.
So.
Absolutely. And we've actually known each other for quite some time. I think it's going on 10 or 11 years.
Yeah.
Honestly, ever since we started the business, you've always been an advocate and a fan of what we're doing, and vice versa. We've always been very well fed working with you. But I have so many questions that I've never asked. We've always had a really great rapport. So I would just love to hear, how did you get into the food industry?
Ooh, me myself?
Yes.
ADHD.
That's why you have so many restaurants, right?
Yeah, I was never really meant to be sitting at a desk. I was never good at it. I always needed to move and do things, and I helped a friend of mine from college when he was opening his restaurant, and I instantly fell in love with it. So I decided I'd never really looked back. Ever since I started working with him, I ended up going to culinary school after I got my degree from Ohio State, and just nonstop chaos.
Sure. Yeah, and you are known as the chaos fixer, so
Chief Chaos Fixer.
Excuse me. So I'm sure you've learned those skills along the way. So, what were you doing for that very first thing when you were helping your friend? What did that look like?
So he came from a family who ran restaurants, but he needed help. Looking back in pretty much every aspect, but at the time he said he just needed help to make sure that you know, we priced things right and we bought things right, and just kind of with the business side of the food business, not necessarily the cooking side, and that's where I kind of started.
Right.
And then within a matter of, I would say, days, I ended up in the kitchen because you can't not.
Sure.
And so I ended up just basically running the restaurant with him, learning everything I can, until I'll never forget, he said to me one day, he goes, "You have learned as much as you can about this particular restaurant, but if you want to be in restaurants, you better go somewhere and get some experience somewhere else," which is what I ended up doing. And that was probably the best advice I ever got.
Very cool. Very cool. So what, I'm just curious, what kind of food was it?
So his restaurant was in downtown Cleveland in one of the office buildings.
Oh.
We ended up partnering and opening restaurants together after this. But it was in an office building. It was very much like a deli, but it also had like a hotline, and then it also had like a small like 7-Eleven in there, so people in the building can get like pantyhose and potato chips and chapstick,
whatever you need,
whatever you need,
right?
so you wouldn't have to leave the building. Yeah.
Sure. Very cool. What do you remember what it was called?
So that was called David's Deli.
Okay. Very cool.
And then he and I ended up becoming business partners, and we opened up Izzy's Lunchbox and Courthouse Cafe, which were then we had these 3 restaurants in downtown Cleveland, and that was the beginning of my career. You know, I went after I got my experience I was working at Tony Roma's for 3 years, and learned every job, every position.
Sure.
And went back, opened up our things, and then we were partners for 12 years.
Wow.
Until the movie production catering business came.
Awesome.
That's when this whole thing kind of, the next chapter started.
Very cool. And that's a great segue, because although as of 2021 you finished your last movie, I know that's very exciting to you, but it is very interesting to most people being involved in the movie production business and catering food to them. And I've been on movie sets before just because I'm so interested in that industry, but most people have never been behind the scenes. Love it or hate it, it's extremely interesting.
Right.
So I'd love to just hear about how you got into the movie catering business and what that looked like.
Basically, it was around 2010. I went to like a meet and greet at the Science Center, and it was the speaker there was Ivan Schwartz, who was the film commissioner for the Greater Cleveland Film Commission, and he was talking about the fact that we have this tax incentive from the state of Ohio, and that he needed to bring movies here, but before he could do that, he needed infrastructure. He says, I need caterers, and I need toilets, and I need grips, and I need this, and I need that. And I said, toilets? No, I didn't say toilets.
That's how I started my business in the shit industry.
Right. It's both sides. You feed them.
Right.
No, but what ended up happening is I'm like, catering, huh? How hard could it possibly be to feed 100, 150 people breakfast and lunch? We're doing it now, and in our restaurants that we had at the time in downtown, we would be doing like 3,000 people for a holiday party and doing full breakfast.
So to take that out of the office building and into the street where they're shooting.
And just do 100 people. It's like, how hard could it be? Well, so I went and I looked into it further. I ended up buying all of the trucks from the guy who was doing catering for the TV show The West Wing.
Oh, wow.
For all 5 seasons. And he was selling his rig. He kind of got out of it.
Yeah. Didn't see that as a red flag.
I did not. When he said nervous breakdown, I did not hear it.
Right.
So
like, food trucks, got it.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, movies. I'm like, how? He's obviously just not built for this. Right. Is what I said. And drove everything back to Cleveland and started, doing production. My first production was Dick's Sporting Goods national Christmas spot that they filmed at Crocker Park.
Okay.
So it was a 3-day shoot because it was a national spot. It was about 60 or 100 people, and by the second day, I was on the floor in a fetal position, bawling my eyes out, going, "What the hell just happened here?"
Right.
Because I quickly found out it was not about catering or about food. It was about problem solving.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how that started.
So what were some of the more well-known movies that people have seen that were here in Cleveland that you did?
So there were different levels of involvement because obviously we were part of like a lot of the Marvel movies and the Fast and Furious 8, and some of those larger productions, but we were way too small to be able to just do it on our own. So we got hired as the local, almost like consultants / helpers, where we guided the guys who came in with like 10, 18-wheeler kitchens.
Sure. Okay.
They were feeding thousands of people.
Wow.
And so we worked in a different capacity with them. The largest movie that we did on our own was Draft Day. We also did a bunch of smaller movies that were actually pretty good, but you'd have to really know them to see them, like Bronze and Jenny's Wedding and a bunch of others that were just small, but they weren't small to us, I'll tell you that.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing Kevin Costner at the Indians game while he was here filming that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and here's Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
It's like, leave the guy alone. But very cool. So how did you end up linking up with Jay Lietzen and kind of working with 56, which is a pretty well-known name in Cleveland, and sort of combining forces to get us, I mean, we're here in this really awesome restaurant. It's been 2 years now, and it's
almost 2 years.
Always wondered how did that happen?
Yeah, well, I started in 2010 with the movies. My old business partner, David, just had he had kids, and he couldn't do what it takes to be in the movie business, which is all encompassing. And so I went off on my own to do that. And within 2 years, by 2012, I was completely overwhelmed because I kind of figured out how to do it where everybody was hiring me because of the tax credit. And so I couldn't keep up, and I was like, I just couldn't do everything they asked. I always say most movies take 2 months to film, so most production caterers do about 6 a year.
Right.
And in 2012, we were up to like 8 movies and maybe 150 commercials.
Right.
Because we also got called from companies like the Cleveland Clinic and McDonald's and Kia and anything with LeBron James and anything with Kyrie Irving. And this was when they were all here, and we were doing kind of all of their commercials for whatever products they were endorsing. So I needed help, and my old business partner, funny enough, suggested I call Jay, my current partner, and he had a huge and really well-known catering business, so he had the infrastructure, the kitchens, he had the staffing, and so I called him up and I baited him with, "Do you want to be in the movie business?" Poor soul said, "Yeah."
Right, and here you are.
And that was that, yep. And so originally we just became partners in the catering, where he still had a restaurant. I didn't want any more restaurants because I knew what it takes to do this. And eventually he convinced me to open a restaurant, and then another and another. And the more we opened, the less I wanted to do.
Right.
And the less we were able to do movies.
Then the more you have.
Yeah. So,
that makes sense. And was 56 Kitchen the first one that you guys partnered up on?
Yeah. So 56 Kitchen, the one that you did the branding for, was basically the culmination of everything we learned as partners on the movie set. So that's where all that clean eating came from. That's where all of the vegan options, vegetarian, and gluten-free, because that's what we had to do on set.
Right, you kind of had to cater to every single little demand and everyone's needs and all that stuff. A lot of West Coast,
East Coast stuff. And so, so that was the idea of combining the, Cafe 56 with the salads and the healthy proteins and things with what we did on movie sets, and that's kind of what 56 Kitchen became.
Very cool. And can you tell us just a little bit more about 56, the menu, the food, the atmosphere, just like a promo?
Oh, sure. I thought you'd never ask. No.
Time to plug my business.
So 56 Kitchen, I call it maybe like an upscale, casual American. We basically have, I think, 4 menu categories. We have our pizzas. Everything is made from scratch. We make our own dough. We make our own sauce. We even make a lot of our own toppings, like the sausage and the meatballs and stuff. We make some of our own breads as well. But, we have the pizzas. We have a really nice salad selection. That's what we're known for. So you can get a variety of different salads there. We also have a phenomenal sandwich section. And in each section, we have like the ability to do gluten-free or vegan options.
Awesome.
And then we finally have like our entrees, our composed plates, which changes. We let our chefs kind of, have free reign within range to come up with their own specials. So that changes pretty much every week.
Right. Yeah, and 56 is, that was one of our first projects, not as a company, but like in the food realm and kind of, we were doing food stuff for very, very small organizations. And that was the first time that we had something where everyone I know goes to that restaurant. And I'm like, oh, well, how do you like that menu? Was it easy to see? So it was really cool for us to be a part of that and just to see the successes of it. And just now it's kind of just an established thing in Solon and the Cleveland area that that's what it is. And it's always quality food. I remember, I think I had a short rib and mashed potato meal that was just like out of this world. So I always go back and forth because we do hundreds of projects and years go by. So I look at 56, oh, this is my favorite brand. But then I was looking at Vertigo the other day.
Yeah.
Which we actually used a different logo designer for that one. And that one's really cool too.
It is really
So
cool.
tell me a little bit about Vertigo.
So Vertigo was our COVID project.
It's like your COVID baby?
It's a COVID baby. Jay and I were there during COVID, not able to work. Everything was closed. Everything was locked down. And, we just saw doom and gloom, and we realized that people are never going to eat in restaurants again. And,
Right.
We should maybe come up with a concept that's just like a takeout spot.
Right.
And we had some partners people that were very interested in like partnering with us and supporting the idea. And we're like, what else we got going on? So let's come up with it. And we sat and, Jay really, that's one of his things. He stalks other restaurants. He learned and he studied and he kind of figured out how to make really, in my opinion, one of the best chicken sandwiches I've ever had. We combine that with like the 12 different dressings that we make from scratch, the tater tots, the smashed fingers, and of course, we have a really, really good custard.
Right. I remember the initial concept around the chicken and custard.
Yes. Yeah. We went through, that was a crazy one to come up with the name for that one.
I know, right?
But the cuteness of the Vertigo, because of the rotisserie chicken, the spinning.
Right.
And the Vertigo, where it ended up was, I thought, quite brilliant.
Yeah. And that's, one of the reasons why we've always found an amazing partnership with you guys. And the product's always that much better when we're working with you. Not versus some of our other clients, which we love as well, but there is a high level of creativity and understanding of the market. And like you're saying, when we did Vertigo, Jay was in Austin, Texas. He was looking at all the hottest trends and all the chicken spots and, looking across the nation and sending us inspiration that I was blown away by, that I was like, wow, these are brands that I'm just like, this is awesome. I want to make stuff like this. And it's just really exciting to get the opportunity to do that kind of thing. Because, we're getting hired to bring a vision to life that isn't our vision. And so we oftentimes want to bring the most value to the customer and make sure they're getting their vision. And it's always cool, like when we get to Elle, where we're at here today, I think it was it the Amalfi Coast or somewhere in Italy? That's just like the peak of Italy and France where they meet. And one side's France and one side's Italy. And just like researching that stuff for me was just like so fun and so inspiring. And to be able to do that is really cool. So,
well, I'm glad you can do it, because that's one thing we're not good at.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You know, the ideas are always there. And one thing we always do is, you know, we take all of Jay was sending me like 50 or 60 emails with like photo after photo after photo. And I'm just like taking that and your ideas and the menus and all these things. And like, we're able to streamline that into like, okay, this is the brand and here you go. And it's cool to like be in the space and see it come to life. And it's really a cool collaboration, because if we were just guiding it, I mean, we would have never thought to look at some of the things that you guys provide. And then if you guys were pushing it, you know, there's a piece of understanding marketing and psychology that we can bring to the table in the colors and the way we're attracting people to the restaurant.
Totally.
So I'd love to hear lastly about Elle, and I know you guys are opening here like I don't have a watch on, but this is the international thing for like, are we almost done here? But no, I know you guys are opening here very soon, maybe in like 10 or 15 minutes. But this, I know a lot of my friends and family have come here as well. We're all local from Cleveland, and so it's awesome to like work with those local entities, just because I don't have to say I work with you or that I know you, and I get to hear honest feedback. And this is the place that my parents and their friends come on a Saturday night for their like big meal that they're going to go out once a week. And this is like the cool thing that they're doing, where they get to feel like part of like the in crowd, you know? And so it's really fun to hear those things, knowing that part of the atmosphere and the look and the feel we collaborated on. So for those who haven't heard of Elle or aren't from the area, just a little bit of background. What was the inspiration and what's the food like?
The inspiration, so both my mom and her side of the family and Jay's mom and her side of the family ran restaurants. A lot of the women, my family ran restaurants in Israel, and Jay's family is local here in Cleveland. Everybody, I'm sure, from Cleveland knows of the Lietzens and Cafe 56 and all of the catering. And so we decided to do a restaurant that's kind of an homage to the women who were in our life and who taught us, you know, about food, cooking food, respecting food, and also how to make a business out of food.
Right.
And so Elle is just basically like a feminine word in Mediterranean languages. And so it just kind of encompasses all of the inspirational women, you know, who have been in our life and continue to be in our life.
Sure.
And that's what it is. And as far as the food goes, it's in Italian, we say like North Italian, French style. And, you know, the place is very open like our other restaurants. So you can see all the way through. You get authentic vision of everyone cooking and making your drinks, everything else. And it's just, it's supposed to be a relaxing, a very cool, like bohemian chic vibe.
Right. Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's definitely my vibe. You know, Bohemia is what is now Czechoslovakia, and that's where my family's from.
So is mine, yeah.
And I definitely relate to that style. And I mean, I was joking with Jaffe, our producer, that the soundtrack, like, we don't need music for this conversation because the soundtrack is so cool. The atmosphere is amazing. We were, you know, setting up this camera here and getting the chandeliers, and it is that like relaxing vibe that's cool, and it feels good. So you definitely hit the nail on the head on that one, and the execution's great. So
we have to thank Eric Lotso, the designer.
Awesome.
He killed it on this one.
Very good, Eric.
So, yeah, that was it.
Very cool. Well, I really enjoyed our conversation. I mean, it's been so long. I could we could probably do several more episodes, maybe even not about food. I guess my last question is, I know Jay's mom, she would always be sort of in the back when we were meeting at 56 and kind of like, hey, has she been here? Is your mom around? Has she visited at all? Like, have the women who inspired this come here and eaten here as well?
Yeah, so first of all, they're both in the lobby. We've turned both of their pictures into artwork, and they are in the lobby.
How do they feel about that?
Well, when they saw it, they loved it because you can't tell it's them unless we say something. So that they were worried at first. But Jay's mom lives here in Cleveland, so she visits regularly.
Okay.
My mom lives in Israel. She's been here once, just about a month ago. And they're both just blown away. And we got some major brownie points for doing this,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's got to feel so great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to score brownie points with the mom, even when you're well past the age of living with them and kind of doing that stuff. I know I'm always showing my mom the projects we work on, and it's part of the reason why it's exciting for me is that she comes to these places and sees like our work as well. And I'm sure your mom and Jay's mom brag to their friends like, oh, Jay's got this restaurant and check out Izzy's thing. And it's always just a great feeling to have. So that's really cool. I'm glad they've experienced that and you got to bring them here. And
oh yeah,
I know it's a big staple in the community. So we thank you for being here.
And we appreciate the community too. We really do feel it's like a partnership.
Right.
We need them as much as they need us. So
yeah, I know. I mean,
works.
the mayor and just the community of people here are just all great. I know I've met with them several times, and the business development director, and they're all working
She's
very
great.
hard. Yeah, just to provide a great community and atmosphere for business. And so, as an entrepreneur, that's always exciting to see.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So-
It's why we did all this, because they're so good to us.
Right? Yeah, it's not always that easy in other places to open a
not
restaurant.
Not so much.
So, well, Izzy, I really appreciate your time. This has been really great. We're celebrating our 10th anniversary, and
Mazel tov.
we've definitely known each other for that long, and it's been really awesome to have you be a part of our portfolio and just to have you as a friend. So, thank you so much.
Thank you for everything you've done to get us here too.
Absolutely. It's exciting to see. All right, everyone. You were listening to the Hey Now podcast. We were here with Izzy at 56, Elle, and Vertigo. We hope to see you next time and hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Yes.